Ahoy Ships Company, Frankie Day, back again on YouTube. This evening on YouTube, I have the update build report number 1, part 2, Speedy 197's 1960 aircraft group build. As all you great fellows know, that I've completed my F-4C Phantom. So I'm starting on my Avro Shackleton maritime patrol bomber. So far, it's a pretty dandy of a kit, folks. I got on that. I did a little work on it today, a little bit, let parts dry here and there. Apparently, it looks like it's going to be a fast build. I should have this thing done probably by Christmas Eve. If the good Lord's willing, the creeks don't rise. We're supposed to have a lot of rain, a lot of snow coming back here again, so I got enough miles here to last me. So everything will be well in that respect. Okay, get back to the Shackleton, of course. Okay, so far on the construction of the Shackleton, I did a lot of cleaning. I look at the kit pretty good. Boy, this thing is covered with rivets. I imagine Rosie the Riveter, she must have had a heyday rebuilding this one. There's enough rivets in this thing here you can use it for a rasp. But that's going to be relieved pretty good by using a 320 wet and dry sandpaper while using plenty of water. So far on the construction of my Avro Shackleton, I assembled the bomb bay compartment, the pilot's compartment, and it looks like there's a bulkhead that fits right in front of the dial console on the pilot's compartment that actually separates the pilot's compartment up to the bomb aimer's window. I guess that's what it is on there on the Shackleton. I did a little research on the Shackleton and used the internet. Good old cyberspace. And like, if you're in doubt, stay out, and you want to learn something, that Wikipedia right there, you can't beat that, fellas. That's better than Funkel's, Wagnalls, or Webster's Dictionary, wherever you got out there. They got everything on this bird. This is a beautiful airplane. I had no idea that this thing was in the service for 50 years. I mean, for 40 years, that's a long time. Yeah, Mr. Chadwick, he was the designer of the Avro Lincoln, the Manchester, and the Lancaster bombers, so he designed this one too. So if you look at the Shackleton quite well, fellas, you can see a little bit of Lincoln and the Lancaster in it. So the man was a great aircraft designer, and his aircrafts worked was like that as Dr. Barnes Wallace, like Victor's Aircraft Company. I mean, their aircraft really supersedes the limit, and then some of their own designs. The Avro Shackleton came out in 1949, and it was, I guess, it was the successor to the Short Sunderland flying boat, and the PB-2I Coronado flying boat, which the RAF used as maritime flying boat. So actually, when the war came to the end, they had a new design for a maritime patrol bomber. So Mr. Chadwick designed this aircraft here. It's actually, when the aircraft first came out as a prototype, it almost favored that of the Lancaster or the Lincoln bomber. It was a tailjacker, and as further developments came through. As further developments came through on the design of the aircraft itself, it went through a changes from aircraft to aircraft. So actually, they went to the taildragger. They reverted from that to the nose wheel undercarriage. So actually, you got a tricycle nose carriage undercarriage assembly. So far on the kit, like I say, there's more cons to it than there's pros. The only pro I see in this model, it's a Shackleton. No mistake about it. No mistake about it. And the cons are ins and outs of the moldings of the plastic. There's ejector pin marks all over this thing. There's a lot of flash. So you're dealing with a kit that's almost 50 years old in general. The Frog Model Company, which is airlines, and they more or less had this kit at first, because I remember buying one of these back in 1963, and I think it cost $1.29 back then. And this kit here is the old Frog kit. The molds are all Frog, and the model company that produces it is called Arc Models from Russia. And from my standpoint, understanding that Revell Germany made one too. Might be a lot more better kit than this one. But this one here is, oh Lord, it's junk. But with a little, with a lot of work on it like that, I can make a nice kit. The kit comes with operable flaps. The Bombay doors open and close, and the horizontal and vertical stabilizer tail feathers are operable. The ailerons are operable. Everything works on it except the retracting of the landing gear. So I'm not too keen on gimmick models, so I'll assemble it as per instructions. The other con part of it, folks, is that the instructions are really rinky-dink. They should have been well executed. Besides what they give you, and there's no paint schedule on it at all. So that problem's been solved already. Jake Cutter, old Steve, across the pond, my good friend there, he cued me in on the using dark sea gray. So I went down to the hobby shop today, and so I'm gonna give this stuff a try, guys. I went and bought some Vallejo dark sea gray. It looks pretty right on. So I'm not too familiar with acrylic paints. I'm pretty much old school, anyway from lacquer to enamel. But water-based paints, as long as you use water or alcohol or something like that for a thinning agent, it can't go wrong. So I'm gonna give that a whirl for the paint schedule on my Shackleton. Well, like I say, this thing is covered with rivets, fellas. There's enough rivets in this thing, like I mentioned earlier in my video. You can use it virtually. You can use it as a rasp. But that's all that's going to be done after I sand it down. The cockpit is very sparse. They give you, excuse me, give you a cockpit floor, two rear bulkheads with molded-in seats, 2 control yokes, and 2 pilots. There's your pilot's compartment. No raised details on the dial console. I'm not too certain if the decal sheet has one already as a decal, which most of them nowadays, kits nowadays, they more or less have decals with your dials on there, control dials. And I guess not. I guess they don't have it in this one here either. So that's not going to be necessary. All I got to do is just paint it, you know, the gray-green, which is an interior green. And I'll go ahead and airbrush the dial cancel, use a toothpick, and just make a semi-dial faces. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of work, guys. So far, I like to show you how much I got done on it. You wait for this unnecessary chatter, but I like to ramble. Okay, starting on the starboard side of the fuselage, we'll do this update on the webcam, fellas. So use the other one. I've got the Bombay doors. Bombay doors are movable. They as you can see, and I turn it from the inside. As you can see, the assembly. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Right here. They give you a molded-in seat up to the bulkhead. Now, Jake Cutter can relate to this because he has the same kit. I think his may be Revell Germany or maybe even Frog like this is. But anyway, he understands what I'm saying. And the rest of you great pals too. They give you 2 yokes here. And right here, folks, I'm here on the control console, the dial console here, where the instrument dials are at. Right here. The wrong way here. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Right here, there's no raised panelings for your controls for your dials. But anyway, that'll be overcome and achieved. So I'll let that dry. Then I'll go ahead and paint the interior green into it, and I'll spruce up the cockpit just like Panzerville does. I got 2 pilots I gave you. They're the typical 1960 pilots. It might be the old Airfix pilots used to have. So I'm going to try my hand at do like Tanzaville does, make those pilots look sweet. So I'm going to try to, I'll go ahead and execute that measure. So that's about as far as I got on my Shackleton bomber. So I'm going to go ahead and let this thing dry overnight. And tomorrow I'll go ahead and airbrush the inside interior grain and finish up the cockpit details. And I'll just go ahead and close up the fuselage and take it over to the sink and use plenty of water, Joy soap, and wet and dry sandpaper, and go ahead and sand the whole thing down and get rid of those nasty rivets. Well, I'm not kidding, folks. The rivets are bad. They're an eyesore. 50 years ago, they're most welcome. It gave you a sense of authenticity, but to a modeler's eyes, it's a boil in the back of your neck. Other than that, folks, and the other, that's about it. The overall spec of the kit, it's an Avro Shackleton. It's one of its type that's ever been produced, but they're out there with different company names on them, so same mold, same kit. It's going to be a fun build. It's got a lot of flash on it. It's old, and it just takes work. Okay, fellas, it's right here. I'm Frankie Day here is going to sign off right here. I'm going to go ahead and prepare my paints and everything for tomorrow for my Shackleton, and take it easy a little bit, and that'll be that. Okay, everybody, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. This concludes update build report number 1 and part 2 of Speedy 197's 1960 aircraft group build. I think I can get enough time just to get this thing all done before we start the new year for the grand finale. I'd like to thank everybody out there one more time again for tuning in. And God bless everybody. And have a darn good Merry Christmas. And I hope everybody has a very healthy Christmas and everybody's healthy. And let's hope 2014 brings us all cheer and brings everybody to be closer together, and end all this unnecessary individualism, and everybody pull together. And I hope Santa or Mrs. Claus brings you a lot of styrene under the tree. I know I get my share right now. I got about 5 more models I know I got all wrapped up in paper. So I'm going to have to rub my hands and wait until that day, but that'll be that there. But I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and everything, and may God bless and have a wonderful Christmas. And take care of yourselves, and happy modeling, and please subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next YouTube video. I should have another build of the past coming very shortly, so stay tuned for that, folks. God bless you guys. I love you guys. You guys take care, boys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, fellas.